Hello, everybody. I'm Fred Favors, and welcome to the Ohio State Buckeyes Championship Drive. Like, share, and subscribe for future content. And we're going to be all over these Buckeyes until we get to the promised land. But right now, we're focused on that team up north. And you know what? On Saturday, all we got to do is point to Urban Myer, the greatest Ohio State coach ever, in my book. He gave us the blueprint, being 7-0 against these Michigan teams, 7-0, undefeated. He gave us the blueprint. And the blueprint is all in the writings, folks. I got it right here. The reason we've been losing against Michigan is in the trenches, the war of attrition. We've lost that over the past 4 games. If you look at what Michigan has done, rushing the football, 888 yards rushing the football in 4 games. Ohio State, 370 yards rushing against Michigan in 4 games. So you can't rush the football, and you can't stop Michigan from rushing the football. The war of attrition is right there. Where games are won and lost. Urban Myer averaged over 500 yards total offense against Michigan in the 7 games he won. How did Urban Myer, why was he so successful? Because he made it important, of extreme importance, to win the war of attrition. That's where this game is won and lost. Always has been when you play Michigan. Michigan has the second best rushing attack in the Big Ten. They've rushed for over 200 yards 3 times this year. And they've got some great runners. And Tony Alford, our running backs coach from the past, who did a great job at Ohio State, is now at Michigan. They run hard, always have, and they'll be ready for this game on Saturday. And I want to come back to this on Sunday. My podcast on Sunday, we're going to talk about these numbers. If the Ohio State Buckeyes, look, they had 518 more yards rushing in the 4 games they have won in a row against Ohio State, Michigan, the team up north. 518 more yards than we have rushing the football. We can't run the ball, and we can't stop them from running the ball. That's where this game is. And Urban Myer imprinted this on his teams. So Ryan Day and Mike Patricia, extremely talented coach, because let's face it, Patricia came here to Ohio State and we lost pretty much our entire defense. So he had to reload, and you can do that at Ohio State, but he had to reload, and this team is playing better than it did last season. In fact, it may be one of the best defensive teams ever. We'll have to prove that against Michigan on Saturday. Many folks said we haven't played any elite teams yet. All we've done is beat the stuffings out of the team. Speaking of stuffings, it's Thanksgiving today. We beat the stuffings out of every team we played. Every team they've lined up. So Julian Sayin had not had to have that Heisman moment that he will have on Saturday. We got to stop the run, and we got to be able to run the football. That means our offensive line, and we've got some good guys. You know what? Even though we lost maybe most of our offensive linemen from last season, the guys we have, Donovan Jackson Jr., is expected to be a first rounder. Luke Webner, he'll play in the NFL. Matthew Jones will play in the NFL. Josh Simmons will play in the NFL. Austin Serveld, 6'5", 325, will play in the NFL. We've got guys right now that are going to be first and second rounders in the NFL. We better be able to run the football on Saturday. Offensive line is important. We had 77 yards rushing last season when we lost 13-10. 77 yards rushing is not going to beat Michigan. It's not going to beat Indiana. You probably won't even beat Iowa with 77 yards rushing. You got to be better than that. Ohio State, we got to be better than that. Now, you know, Underwood, the 18-year-old phenom quarterback for Michigan, Bryce Underwood, the $10 million man. I think he signed for $10 or $12 million of an NIL deal over 4 years. He's 18 years old, has thrown 5 or 6 interceptions. We can get to him. The format is to put pressure on him, make him a little anxious, a little nervous, And once you do that, then the interceptions will come. Buckeyes will have at least two turnovers, one by interception, one by fumble in this game on Saturday. But you can get to him. He's 18 years old, a true freshman. And once we put, and listen, he has never been in this kind of situation that he'll be up against on Saturday. His passer rating, as far as the Big Ten is concerned, I think he's number 10 or 12 or 11. So he's not, the passer rating for Julian is saying he's number 3 in the conference so far, second or third. So we can get to Bryce Underwood, and make him a little nervous back there in the pocket. And when that happens, he'll throw interceptions, and the Buckeyes will be able to cash in on that. It's important that we understand how you beat Michigan. How they've been beating us the past 4 seasons has been in the war of attrition, where real men are. What Keith Jackson used to call them, the big uglies. That war of attrition, the offensive and defensive line, if you can control that, you win Saturday. If you don't control that, they win. Michigan wins, and they probably will get into the playoffs. They have a lot to play for. They're playing in the big house, 100,000 plus, national television audience. Big game. They won the last 4. The pressure's on Ohio State. But really, the pressure's on Michigan. We won the title last season, even when you beat us. Now, what do you want? We won the title or beat Michigan? If I had to choose one, title. I'd like to have both. But if I had to choose one, title. So the game is bigger for them. But if you're an Ohio State fan like I am, and you've been an Ohio State fan since the 60s, you want this win. So I'm not thinking about Indiana right now. I'm not thinking about Indiana. I'm not thinking about the playoffs right now. I'm singleness of purpose. Michigan, the team up north. They tried to put their flag on our field and on our emblem, which caused a melee. And I don't blame the Ohio State Buckeyes. I mean, if I was on the field, I would have caused a hell of a storm myself. How are you going to put your flag? You beat us, okay? You beat us, even though we probably know you cheated. Sign stealing and that kind of thing. You got reprimanded for. You don't play by the rules. We know that. You cheated, but you're still going to try to put your flag on our emblem. We owe you. We owe you for that. We owe you for the sign stealing, because really, I don't know if you can count the 2 games that you won. We don't know how much you took advantage of the sign stealing that we know you did against Ohio State. How much did that help you? You only won 13-10. So I don't know if I can give you those 2 wins, or I put an asterisk beside your win. I was on in Los Angeles the other day, and I was running to a Michigan fan. I had my Ohio State gear on. I always do this time of year. He said, "You're an Ohio State fan?" "Yeah, I'm a Buckeye. Went to school there 1.5 years, and I'm from Marion, Ohio. I'm a Buckeye. Grew up there." He said, "We beat you 4 games." I said, "You cheated 4 games." I wouldn't have a Chester Cat smile on your face. So between the sign stealing, to trying to put your flag on our logo last year, which caused the melee, I don't blame the Buckeyes for being fired up. And besides those 2 things and the fact that we just don't like you, there's enough motivation for us to go in there and kick ass. But let's be clear about this. I mean, I was speaking to the coaches, Coach Bowen, Patricia, and Ryan Day. This game is going to be won in the trenches. Always is. And Michigan has been superior in that area. And we got to change that dynamic. Almost 1,000 yards in 4 games rushing the football. I'm not talking about passing. Rushing the football, almost 1,000 yards, over 800 yards rushing in 4 games. We only 370 yards in 4 games. This game is won and lost in the trenches, and we haven't been right in that area. Now, getting to Smith, Tate, and Claire, we should have at least 13 balls thrown to Smith in some way, form, or fashion. He's got to touch the football at least 13 times. Tate, we got to get him at least 7 touches. Claire, we got to get the ball to him at least 6 times maybe 7. He proved last week against Rutgers he's the real deal. No way you stop that passing attack. And so that is one thing I want to impress on Ryan Day. You got to be like Urban Myer. You got to be ferocious. You got to be aggressive. You got to be smart. You got playmakers. Use them. You set up the run by getting your passing game off the ground. And you got a great one. Sand is the real deal. Now, again, the passer rating for Underwood. In the Big Ten, I think he's ranked 11th or 12th in his passer rating. Not very good. He's an 18-year-old freshman. He can be rattled. Again, 18-year-old freshman. He can be rattled. He can be rattled. And I expect to have at least 2 interceptions from the Buckeyes in this game against him. Pressure, again, pressure must be applied to him. And I'm talking about maximum pressure from our front four. Jackson, Curry, Houston, McDonald. I know we've lost at least most of our defense from last year. So you got to give these guys a lot of credit. You know, Patricia, Ryan Day have put together a tremendous defensive unit for most of these guys not to have been starting last year. Same as the offensive line. But that's what we do at Ohio State. We reload. So this is a big game. I've seen many big games since the 60s with Rex Kern, John Brockington, Gradisar, and many other great stars throughout the 60s, 70s, 80s. And this is as big a game as any of those I've seen before. And many of you Buckeye fans will say the same thing. Why is this a big game? Because they've controlled you the last 4 games. You never want to let that happen. Now, I saw this on the internet, and I'm going to close. What would you rather have, a Big Ten championship, or let's say, get the Big Ten championship out of your mind, beating Michigan or winning a college football championship? Beating Michigan, college football champion. Now, in the best of all worlds, you'd like both. But if you had to choose, this is the greater prize, the championship. This is what everybody strives to get. This is what everybody wants to have in their hand, the championship. Of course, we'd like to have both, and I believe this year we're going to get them. 31-17, this game, Buckeyes win. 31-17, Buckeyes win. But mark my word, when I get back with you guys on Sunday, we're going to go through 2 things. How many yards rushing did Michigan have? How many yards rushing did we have? Who controlled the line of scrimmage is going to control this game. Michigan has a lot to play for. They win, they pretty much get into the college football playoffs. They got 100,000 fans. They believe that they can control the Ohio State Buckeyes no matter where they play. They believe that they have the Ohio State Buckeyes number. That's over. That's done. Finished. I want to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Happy holidays. Even to you Michigan fans, today there's a truce. If you're a Michigan fan, you're out there, happy holidays to you and your family. But when Sunday comes, we're going to war. And when I say war, we're going to battle. 31-17, we win. Again, we must win the line of scrimmage. Michigan has had over 500 yards more rushing yards than Ohio State in the last 4 games. Over 500 more rushing yards than Ohio State in the last 4 games. This game is won or lost in the interior line, like the offensive and defensive lines. Make no mistake about it. Smith is going to have a great game. Tate's going to have a great game. But this game will be won and lost on your offensive defensive lines. Ryan Day, I hope this message gets to you. Urban Myer has given us a blueprint. He won 7 straight games against these Michigan teams, averaging over 500 total offensive yards per game. He's given us a blueprint to how to beat Michigan. And if we listen to that blueprint and really understand that we have to control the line of scrimmage. We've got NFL type guys, offensively and defensively, on our line. We're talking about guys who will go first, second round on our defensive line and offensive line. What do they have to do? They have to move people. And our running backs, we got good ones. West, Jackson, Donaldson. They're good enough. They run hard, and they'll be special. But we need our offensive and defensive lines to come out and play the best game ever in this game against Michigan. 31-17. I'm Fred Favors. See you Sunday. And again, we're going to go through these numbers. Did we control the offensive line? How many yards rushing did we yield against Michigan? And how many yards rushing did we have at Ohio State? How many yards rushing did we accomplish in this game? It's big time. 31-17. Smith gets 2 touchdowns. Sayin goes 21 out of 27 for 280 yards. We win 31-17. I'm out.